Today's date is November 20th, 2019, and the time is 10:21 a.m. We are on the record for the oral video deposition of Robert Mebane.
Okay, if you would raise your right hand for me, please. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. would you pronounce your name the way you'd like for me to pronounce it?
Mebane.
Mebane. I've heard
It's from the south side of Lockhart.
Okay, I've heard it several different ways, but Mebane.
North side is Mebane.
Don't confuse me. I'm bad directionally. Now that I know how to pronounce your last name correctly, could you please tell us your full name?
Robert Eugene Mebane, Jr.
You are on the board of directors for the Windermere Oaks Water Supply Company, right?
Yes.
What time period did your tenure on the board cover? When were you on the
It
board?
was from 2015 to 2017.
And my understanding is that you also had some dealings with the board in your capacity as a board member for the Property Owners Association. Is that right?
I was on the Property Owners Association prior to being on the water board.
So what years were you on the Property Owner Association board, if you remember?
I think it was from 2011 to 2015, I think it was 2 sessions prior to being on the water board.
All right. Have you ever had your deposition taken before, sir?
No.
Are you generally familiar with the process?
Yes.
I don't want to bore you with going through things you don't need to know. My name, by the way, is Cappy Allen. You and I have not met before, right?
Don't think so.
Not that I know of, anyway. And I'm here representing the plaintiffs in this lawsuit, and I'm here to learn facts that you know about some issues that have been raised as a preliminary matter before the court. So hopefully this will be a shortened and limited process, and hopefully we can get you out of here expeditiously. Just a couple of ground rules, though, before we get started. It's very important. The court reporter will take down everything that anybody says here today in the room. And so it's very important that we not talk at the same time. You may know already what I'm going to ask you before my question is done, but if you'll just let me get that question out, the record will be a lot clearer. In the same way, when you're answering a question, I'm going to make every effort to make sure that you finished before I speak again, all right? If I ever cut you off, it's inadvertent. If you'll let me know that, we'll go right back and let's make sure that you finish your answer, all right?
Okay.
If you get to a point where you'd like to take a break, all you have to do is let me know that. If there's a question on the table, I might ask you to go ahead and answer that question first, just because we don't want to lose our train of thought. But I want to be courteous and respectful to you, and if you ever want to stop and talk to Ms. O'Brien or just take a break, if you'll let me know that, that'll be fine. Usually my questions are not too terrible, but occasionally they are. And sometimes you just can't understand what I'm trying to ask you. If that happens here today, will you just let me know that so that I can stop right then and correct my question so that you and I will be communicating? Was that fair enough?
Yes.
If it seems to me that you're not answering the question that I ask you, I'm going to blame that on me and say my question was bad and we're not communicating. I might come back then and try to go at it a different direction so that I can ensure that you and I are communicating. Will you understand I'm not badgering you about that?
Okay.
There might be a time, I don't know, might be a time when you're instructed not to answer a question or something like that. Again, I want you to understand I'm not badgering you, but there are a couple of things that I need to do if that happens so that the record will be clear later. And if you ever decide that you refuse to answer a question, I'm going to be respectful about that, and I'm not going to badger you about that either. I just might ask a follow-up question or two so that there will be enough on the record for a judge to take a look at that if there's a need for it. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. I only have really 4 topic areas to talk to you about today, And as you might imagine, they all stem from a transaction that occurred in March of 2016, whereby some real property was transferred to Friendship Homes and Hangars. You're familiar with that transaction, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you what we've marked as Exhibit 1, which I understand is an affidavit that you have given in this matter. Can you just put that over and let's confirm that that's what it is?
Yes.
And it is your signature on the affidavit?
Yes.
It reflects that it was signed October 31st of, 2019, is that right?
Yes.
Who prepared the affidavit?
I can't remember the name of the person.
Well, I guess, let me ask it this way. Did you prepare the affidavit?
No, it was prepared by, I met with a lawyer, and he prepared it based on the conversation we had.
Okay. The lawyer you met with, is it any of the people here today?
No.
You just don't remember the name?
I'm sorry, I don't remember the name.
Or the firm? Do you remember the firm?
No.
Was it on October 31st?
October 31st.
You signed it on October 31st. When you met with the gentleman that you're describing, was it on October 31st or was it earlier than that?
I think it was. I just can't.
Can you recall where you met with him?
As I remember, it was downtown.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. It was down at 8th and Congress.
Okay.
8th. That's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking of, yeah, it was downtown.
Was it a lawyer with the Lloyd Gosselink firm?
Yes, it was across the street from, yeah, we're members of the Texas Public Policy, and we were down at luncheon, and I walked across the street. That's right, I'm sorry, I walked across the street and signed it.
Okay. Had you given the information that went into this affidavit at an earlier time, or did you just give it right then?
I think I had given it earlier. I just don't remember the exact steps and everything, but I think I had given it earlier.
Okay. Has there been any occasion where a member, one or more members of the current board of directors for the water supply company has come to you to find out from you what you know and what happened back in 2016?
I have discussed it from time to time with Joe Jimenez, but nothing, not a lot.
What I'm wanting to learn, either way, is whether there was ever a time when a board member from another board, a later board, came to you and said something to the effect that I'd really like to investigate this, and I want to understand what happened, and I want to know from you the facts that you know about it, or something like that. Did that ever happen?
Yes.
Objection form.
Objection form.
I'm sorry?
You can answer.
Oh, no.
Your answer's no, that didn't happen?
Well,
I just can barely hear you, I'm sorry.
I talked to Joe Jimenez from time to time about some of the details, but no, I have not been approached by anybody as far as interrogating me about it.
Okay. And yesterday he told me to pronounce his name Jimenez, so I'm going to say it like that, but you may be familiar with saying it a different way. Can you tell me the last time you spoke with him, Mr. Jimenez?
Gosh, I want to say it was a couple of weeks ago.
What was the substance of that discussion?
I believe he called me to tell me that this was going to take place, or, you know, the time frame. That was basically it. Just let me know that this was going to take place.
And by that you mean the deposition?
Yep.
Okay. And then how about before that? When was the time before that that you had a discussion with Mr. Jimenez that involved the transaction that we're here today about?
It could have been months. It wasn't, I didn't have regular conversations with him about this.
Okay. Can you recall the substance of the earlier discussion that you had with Mr. Jimenez?
No, other than just, no, we really didn't get into details or anything.
Has there ever been a time when Mr. Jimenez or any other later member of a board has asked you why it was that you approved the March 2016 transaction?
Not that I recall.
Has any later board member ever inquired of you, what did you consider when you did that? What facts did you know? Or words to that effect?
No.
Okay. The affidavit that we've marked as Exhibit 1, you understand that even though you weren't in a courtroom or even here in a deposition, that was taken under oath, right?
Yes.
And it's the same oath that you took here today. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Is all of the information that you furnished in your affidavit that we've marked as Exhibit 1, is all of that true and correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you Exhibit 2, and I apologize for kind of shoving these things at you, but I'm a little bit distant from you.
Okay, I remember this.
Can you tell us what Exhibit 2 is?
It's a note that I sent to Joe Jimenez, briefly describing what happened in the transaction in 2015.
It looks to be an email of October 1, 2019. Is that consistent with your memory?
Yes, he requested it for as I remember, for a meeting they were having. He wanted my input for the meeting.
Okay. And what exactly did he ask you to do or to prepare?
As I remember, he asked me just for a brief description as far as what the actions were at that point in time back in 2015.
Okay. And I take it that this email was what you sent to him in response to his request?
Yes.
Did he have any follow-up questions for you or anything like that?
I don't remember talking to him after that about it.
Was there any email exchange about it?
Not that I remember.
Okay. Is all of the information that you put down in your email also true and correct?
As far as I remember, yes.
Okay. Has there been any occasion after the closing that occurred in March 2016, have you ever had occasion to sit down and go back through what happened in a systematic way?
In regards to what?
What the transaction was, why it was approved by the board, things like that.
I think I may have had one or two conversations with an attorney that asked a couple of times, but that was it.
Okay. How about, have you had conversations with Ms. Martin, Dana Martin, about the transaction?
We've had conversations through the years and everything, but I wouldn't say on a regular basis.
Okay. Tell me what you and Ms. Martin have discussed about this matter.
I don't think anything in regards to the actual sale, but just to update me on some of the stuff that was going on.
What did she update you on?
I think some of the possible proceedings upcoming or anything like that.
Did she let you know that there were members who wanted to annul or reverse the transaction?
Well, yeah, that's just general conversation, yeah.
How long have you been aware that there were members who wanted to annul or reverse the transaction?
As I remember, usually probably a couple of years.
Did you have an understanding of why it was that they wanted to reverse the transaction?
I think it was just that they were in disagreement.
Are you aware that the water supply company paid an appraiser to do an appraisal in late 2018?
I heard about it, yes.
You did?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
I don't think I've seen it. I don't think I have.
Are you aware that the appraiser concluded that the value of what was conveyed to Friendship at the time of the transaction was actually around $700,000?
Oh, I remember, I think I remember that, yes.
How did you come by that information?
I can't remember who I got it from. I really can't. I can't remember if it was Joe or who. I don't remember.
Were you aware at the time of the transaction in March of 2016 that the property that was conveyed to Friendship had that kind of value?
It was not my opinion.
Was it someone's opinion?
Not that I was aware of.
Okay. If you had been aware that the property that was conveyed to Friendship was worth $700,000, would you have approved a transaction in which only $200,000 was paid for it?
Objection form.
Objection form.
We're just objecting, but you can answer the question.
I had never heard anybody give an opinion of that.
And that, you and I are not communicating now. That wasn't quite my question, so let me try it again.
Okay.
Had you been aware that the property might be as valuable as $700,000 at the time of the transaction?
No.
If you had been aware, would you have approved a transaction as a member of the board of directors that called for the payment of only $200,000 for it?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I mean, you can try to answer if you want.
If I had seen that figure or appraisal at that point in time, I probably would not have gone along with the transaction. But I did not see anything that showed a value of that high.
Okay. By the way, I should have explained to you, they are entitled to make some objections that are for the record that might be ruled on later if there's a need to rule on it. But unless Ms. O'Brien instructs you not to answer, and I'll respect that if she does, then they're doing what they do for the record, and you and I can continue our question and answer, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Are you aware that the Windermere Water Supply Company is, pursuant to its governing documents, is to be operated as a cooperative?
Objection form.
Objection form.
My understanding is a corporation.
Have you ever read the articles of incorporation or the bylaws?
It was years ago, and I don't remember the details.
Okay. You do know that the water supply company claims tax exempt status under Section 501c12, right?
Objection form.
Objection form.
Yes.
Okay. You've signed tax reporting forms that claim tax exemption under that section, have you not?
Yes.
Okay. Let me show you a couple that came to my attention, and I'm going to mark them as Exhibits 3 and 4. You look over those, and when you're ready, we'll visit about them. So Exhibit 3 is the Windermere Oaks Water Supply Corporation Form 990 for 2015, is that right?
Yes.
And you are the officer who has signed on behalf of the company, correct?
Yes.
And in this reporting form, the water supply company is claiming tax exempt status under 501c12, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit 4 is the Form 990 for 2016, is that right?
Yes.
For the Windermere Oaks Water Supply Corporations?
Yes.
Okay. And again, you in your capacity as president are the person who has signed for the company, is that right?
Yes.
This reflects that in 2016, the company was claiming tax exempt status under 501c12, is that right?
Yes.
Did you have any understanding when you were signing these forms as to what the requirements were to qualify for tax exempt status under 501c12?
I believe that I believe we had a discussion at one time, but I don't remember the details.
Were you relying on the people who prepared these returns to know how the company needed to be operated?
Well, I relied upon them from the financial input or to file the tax returns.
Well, let me be clearer then. Who, if anyone, were you relying on to understand how the water supply company needed to be operated so that it would qualify for tax exempt status under Section 501c12?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I relied upon the past members of the board that were on the board at that time, and also our attorney at that time. I believe his name was Mark Zeppa.
Okay. When you came on the board, were you given a tutorial or some education about here's how the company needs to operate in order to remain tax exempt?
I believe we had a conversation, yes.
What was your understanding of the important aspects that the company had to maintain in order to be tax exempt under 501c12?
I can't tell you the exact details.
If there are things you can't remember, and then that's honest, that's a perfectly fine answer. Let me show you the articles of incorporation. I know you told me a little earlier that if you read them, it was a long time ago, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've marked them as Exhibit 5. You take a look at them and let me know when you have looked at them. And I want to direct your attention to a few parts of these articles, but you're welcome to use or refer to any part of them that you like. The first that I want to direct your attention to is Article 5, and it's on the first page of the articles themselves. Do you see that?
Yes.
Where it says powers? And it says the corporation shall have all the powers invested in a water supply or sewer service corporation by, and it references the Texas statute. Do you see that?
Yes.
Then it says not inconsistent with Internal Revenue Code Section 501c12A and related federal regulations. Do you see that part?
Yes.
What was your understanding, if you had one, at the time that you were the president of the board about what the powers of the water supply company were?
I don't know how to answer that.
Do you have any understanding about what the powers of a water and sewer cooperative are?
Well, my understanding were that we were supposed to supply proper service for sewage and water supply.
If you will, turn the page with me to Article 6. Do you see there, and it's about the fourth line down, it says, "All profits arising from the operations of the business of the corporation shall be annually paid out to the cities, towns, counties, other political subdivision, private corporation, and other persons who have, during the past year, transacted business with the corporation." Do you see that?
Objection form.
Objection form.
Yes, I see that.
Did I read those words correctly, or did I miss some of them?
Object form.
It looks correct.
Okay. Do you know why it is that all of the profits are required to be returned to the customers of the water supply company?
Object form.
Objection form.
Yes.
Why is that?
Because we, as I understand, we're a nonprofit, and any of the income is to be reinvested into the corporation.
Well, what this actually says is that it's supposed to be returned to the customers. Do you read it that way, or do you have a different view?
Object form.
Objection form.
I think it says that.
It says, "All profits shall be annually paid out to the cities, towns, etc., who have during the past year transacted business with the corporation."
Object form.
Do you see that?
Form.
Yes.
Do you know who those people are?
Object form.
Object form.
Objection form.
I would assume it's the customers for the,
Exactly.
yeah.
Is it your understanding that in order to be a customer, you have to be a member of the water supply company?
Yes.
That is, does the water supply company, to your knowledge, provide service to non-members?
Not that I'm aware of.
Has the water supply company ever followed this provision that says that all profits arising from the operations of the business shall be paid out to the persons who have transacted business with the corporation?
Objection form.
I don't think I've ever seen profits.
You don't think the water supply company's ever made a profit? I'm sorry, I just want to understand what you've said here.
I don't ever remember us making a profit, no.
Okay, so just so that I'm clear, you don't ever remember there being a time when the revenues that the water supply company brought in exceeded the costs of providing the service?
Object form.
Objection form.
Not on a year, no.
So the water, in your understanding of it, and when you were managing it, the water supply company was operating even, break even?
Object form.
Objection form.
We had an indebtedness, that we had a debt that we were trying to pay off, and we took money to pay for that debt.
Okay. How did you decide what your budget was going to be if you operated on a break-even basis?
Object form.
Objection form.
They had a balloon note at a bank that we were obligated to pay, and we would pay towards that indebtedness and also future projects.
When you say a balloon note, can you tell us what you mean?
There was a balloon note, I think, of approximately $480,000 that was used to build the water plant at that time, and we had an obligation to pay it off.
When you say a balloon note, though, can you tell us more specifically what that means to you?
It's an amount of money that's owed for indebtedness.
Is it that there was debt that was amortized over a period of time, and at the end of that time, then whatever was left over would be due and payable in a balloon?
Yes.
Okay. Because sometimes you can have balloon payments along the way, and I didn't know whether you were talking about that kind or something else.
I can't remember the exact details of it, but we had a balloon note that we were obligated to pay, and we had a business plan to pay it off over a period of years.
Okay.
Along with other projects.
Before that indebtedness that I assume that the indebtedness you're talking about is what was incurred to build the new wastewater plant, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So before that indebtedness was incurred, and while the planning was going on, what was the plan for paying it back? What were the sources of funds that were counted on?
I don't think I can answer that question. I wasn't on the board when that original indebtedness took place, and when they originally put together the business plan for the plant. So I can't really speak to that.
Okay, fair enough. When you got on the board, though, you then became responsible for oversight and management of that debt payment, right?
Yes.
Did you educate yourself about what obligations were upcoming, and in turn, what resources would be needed to satisfy them?
Yes.
At the time that you came on the board, the debt for the new wastewater treatment plant, was it being paid in monthly installments?
They had, if I remember correctly, they had what I call a balloon note at the bank at Marble Falls, and they were obligated to make payments regularly on that.
Were they monthly payments as best you remember, or do you know?
I can't remember if it was monthly or yearly.
Okay. What steps or diligence did you do to determine how the water supply company was going to make sure that it had the resources to repay that debt?
That was we put together a business plan, a business case, to look at the resources we had, and also through the years, the upcoming projects that needed to be taken care of.
Was this business plan in writing?
I believe so.
Let me ask it this way. If I wanted to find the records that would reflect the board's thinking on, here's the debt that we have to service, and here are the resources that we have available to do that with. That's what I want to find. What records would I ask for?
I believe it was in the minutes of the meetings when we discussed that, but we had a sort of a financial person that helped us take care of our books, and she sort of kept record of all that. As far as I know, those records would probably be in the files there at the water plant.
But one of the things, from what I'm understanding you to say, one of the things is a business plan that I might be looking for to get the information about debt service and resources. Is that right?
Yes.
Was there also a budget?
Yeah.
Formal budget prepared?
Yeah.
And was that done for each year?
Yes.
Are there any other records that you can think of that were prepared that would reflect the debt service that was required during the time you were president of the board, and the resources that were used to satisfy that?
I can't remember any other than, there was a plan put forth, and I think our assistant took care of documenting that, and I don't know where it is.
Okay. And when you say your assistant, is that Carrie?
Yes.
Carrie Gibson, is it?
I think it was Gibson.
Okay. Was the water supply company able to service the debt during the time that you were the president of the board?
Not, well, when you say service, we paid our obligations at that time, but we did not fully reduce it.
Well, okay, fair enough. So the water supply company was able to pay what was due under the terms of the loan documents, is that right?
Yes.
But it wasn't able to prepay or pay more than that, is that right?
Well, in the sale of this property, we took the money that was received from the sale of this property and lowered the balloon payment so that it was at a level to where it was workable, and we could financially work on that and do some of the other projects that needed to be done.
After the transaction in March of 2016, where you received $200,000, the water supply company continued to have debt, right?
Yes.
Do you recall the approximate amount of that debt?
I believe that at that time it was in the mid 200,000.
Do you recall the water supply company borrowed additional money after the March 2016 transaction?
I think, well, we had a couple of projects that we were trying to get done, and there was that came up that weren't originally planned, and I can't remember the exact details, but I think we did have to incur some additional debt, and those plans were projects were continued past me being president.
Okay. During the time, how long have you been a member of the water supply company? Not talking now about the board.
Yeah, I think since I think the year 2000 or 2001.
During that time, has the water supply company ever paid what I'm going to call patronage dividends? That is, dividends that are based upon the amount of business done in the preceding year.
I'm not familiar with that.
When you were on the board, was there any discussion about paying patronage dividends?
I don't remember that.
Were there excess revenues that were retained for future needs?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is it your recollection there were no, what I'm calling excess revenues, no leftover money after the operating expenses were paid and the debt service was paid?
I don't think so.
Back to the articles, one last question about those. Do you see in Article 6 there's a second paragraph?
Yes.
And with regard to the part of it that says the corporation shall have no power to engage in activities or use its assets in a manner that are not in furtherance of the legitimate business of a water supply cooperative or sewer service cooperative, do you have an understanding about what is the legitimate business of a water supply cooperative or sewer service cooperative?
I guess it would be to supply water and sewer service.
Do you have an understanding about whether the objective of a cooperative is to supply water and sewer service at the lowest possible cost?
Object form.
Object form.
Objection form.
I would say that might be one alternative, but it's also to supply a sustainable service over the years.
Do you well, let me ask you this. Was it ever discussed during your tenure on the board that money that was not needed, money that was generated from the members, income from providing the services, in other words, that was not needed for operating expenses or for a reserve, should be rebated to the members?
Object
Was that
form.
ever discussed?
Objection
Object
form.
form.
I don't remember that.
Don't remember that? Do you have an understanding as to whether if the water supply company can't pay its operating expenses and its debt service and there's a shortfall, do you have an understanding of whether the members can be required to make that up?
I don't remember. I don't.
If not the members, from what source would that come?
Object form.
Objection form.
I guess it would be selling resources.
When you became the president of the board, what resources were there to sell aside from the tract that was in the middle of the airport where the old wastewater treatment plant had been?
There was they own property on the right-hand side of Exeter. When you enter the subdivision there, they own property there too.
Is that where they moved the wastewater treatment plant to?
Yes.
So was there property over on the other side of Exeter that was available to sell to generate money if it were needed by the cooperative?
There was property that was there, but I don't remember the exact details, but there was some reason why they didn't put it up. They didn't offer it for sale. I don't remember.
This is the property on the other side of Exeter?
Yes.
So if I've got my directions right, and I don't always, it would be east of the airport proper?
On the right-hand side.
Okay. Do you have a memory about how much property was over there?
Oh gosh, I think it was like 20-something acres.
Do you recall that the water supply company was required to pledge that to secure the debt that was incurred to build the new wastewater treatment plant?
I don't remember the details, but I think there was something about securing part of that for that. I'm not sure.
Do you have a memory about that having something to do with the inability to sell the property on the east side of Exeter?
I think there was something tied to that, but I don't remember the details on that.
In late December 2015 and through March of 2016, did you become aware of any problems with the physical condition of the property that was in the middle of the airport that the old wastewater treatment plant had sat on?
There was, are you, in regards to what?
Anything.
There was as I remember, there was a back part of the property. There was originally a holding tank back there that would have to be filled up and certified in a certain area there. That was a pump station that would have to be filled up and certified before it would be usable for any other. And the front part, the whole property needed to have anywhere from 3 to 5 feet of fill to bring it up to a level to where it would be serviceable.
When you talk about fill, are you talking about in that area of the old pond?
Back in the back.
Okay.
But also in the front, the part that was sold, it would have to be brought up 3 or 4, 5 feet before it would ever be serviceable.
Okay. Is there a report of some kind that discusses this?
Not that I'm aware of. We just had conversation.
With whom?
Just various people. I don't remember who, but I just remember it was conversation. Well, we did meet with the manager of the water corporation, and he went over the back part of it where the whole holding tank was and the pumps and everything, and showed us all of that.
Okay. Was it part of the closure plan that was submitted to the TCEQ to remediate this holding tank area? You told me that, if I understood you, that the holding tank something had to be done to it and then it had to be certified.
From what I understood, it was in order for it to be marketed or sold to somebody, that it would have to be filled up and certified before it would be transferable. So that's why the back part of the property was not what I consider marketable.
Okay. And was the back part ever filled and certified?
Not that I know of.
Was there ever a plan or a design for that project so that it could be filled and certified?
I never saw a formal one.
Did you get the information about the need for the holding tank to be filled and certified? Did that come from an engineer?
It came from our manager.
Is he an engineer?
I believe he's classified as an engineer of water processing. Everything. I'm not sure exactly his title.
He may have a water or wastewater operator's license, is that what you mean?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, but I'm talking about a licensed engineer now. Do you know whether he's a licensed engineer?
I don't know his credentials.
And who is he? Who is that?
George Burris.
George Burris. Setting aside for a moment, Mr. Burris, was there ever a report or a plan from a licensed engineer with regard to the holding tank and the fill and the certification?
Not that I'm aware of.
Was there a cost estimate done for that?
Not that I'm aware of.
When did the board learn of this requirement on the holding tank, that it would need to be filled and certified before it were marketable?
That was in a conversation with George.
Do you recall when that occurred?
As I remember, that was in the early part of when I first got on the board, in 2015.
So soon after May or so, maybe in the summer of 2015?
I think so.
Did Mr. Burris indicate how he'd come by that information? Who had told it to him?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, I mean, do you recall it being some sort of state requirement, regulatory requirement?
As I recall, he just said this would have to be done to this property before it was transferable to somebody else.
How much of the property did you understand was affected by that?
It was, as I remember, between an acre or two, between 1 and 2 acres.
And when you say it was toward the back part, do you mean the part towards Soda Creek?
It was on the very, this is the property here, and this is the property that was sold. It was back here in this corner.
Tell you what, let me, just so that we'll know, the record doesn't really say, it doesn't contemplate here's and there's, so let me give you a photo, Google Earth photo, going to mark it as Exhibit 6. And if you wouldn't mind just going ahead and marking the holding tank, I'm going to just slide this to you, okay? The holding tank area you're describing.
You would just circle the general area?
Yes, sir. I think, what did you tell me, about 1.2 acres, or what? I'm sorry.
I think it was between the affected area would have been between, I believe he said between an acre or 2.
Okay. And yes, sir, if you would just mark that as you understood, the location that you understood it to be. First, and I should ask, does Exhibit 6, is that an accurate depiction of the airport area in 2015?
It looks like it.
Objection form.
Okay.
Objection form.
Can you identify on Exhibit 6 the property that was owned in 2015 by the water supply company that it used to operate the wastewater treatment plant on? You can identify that on this photo, right?
I'm not sure. I don't think it was on this piece of property.
Okay, then I'm confused. Let me back up and make sure that I understand what you're telling me. Do you know what property the water supply company owned within the airport in 2015?
That's that piece of property there. But I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the exact location of the old plant prior to the new plant.
Okay, fair enough. My question's a little bit broader than that, but I'm glad that you told me we needed to revisit it. Are you familiar with the land that the water supply company owned in 2015 within the airport? The chunk of land?
Yes.
Do you see that chunk of land on Exhibit 6?
Yes.
Is it just what you've circled, or is there more to it than that?
There's more to it than that.
Could you outline the property that the water supply company owned in 2015 within the airport on Exhibit 6?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I can't tell you I can sort of draw it in there, but it can't be exact. Is that okay?
If you can do the best you can. Okay, so on Exhibit 6, you've outlined in red the tract of land that the water supply company owned within the airport in 2015, correct?
Objection form.
Objection form.
Approximately. That's an aerial photograph, and if I had a plat drawing, it'd be a lot more accurate.
Right. But you're familiar enough with what it looks like to feel comfortable that that's approximately the land, right?
Approximately.
Okay.
It's an approximate area.
Objection form.
And then the area that you've circled for us has to do with the holding tank and the need for it to be filled and certified, correct?
Objection form.
Objection
Yes.
form.
Are you aware whether or not the TCEQ approved a closure plan for the old wastewater treatment plant?
No.
You don't know one way or the other?
No.
Do you know whether it was required that there be an approved closure plan?
I'm not sure that happened before I got on the board.
Whatever had to do with the closure plan happened before you got on the board, is that what you're saying?
Yes. I mean, the new plant was built prior to me being on the board.
Okay, built and operating, is that right?
Yes.
Do you recall the date that the new plant went into operation, approximately?
I thought it was 2012 or 13. I can't remember exactly.
Okay, all right. Were there any water supply related operations on the land that you've outlined for us on Exhibit 6 after the new wastewater treatment plant came online?
There's a pump station.
A pump station? Where is the pump station? Let me give you a different color. I'm going to give you a blue and ask you on Exhibit 6, if you would just show us where the pump station is approximately.
It's hard to tell on here, but I can sort of give you an area, but it may not be exact.
Okay. So you've marked in blue pen the approximate area that is there a pump station there today?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I think there is.
Okay.
I haven't been over there in years, so I don't know if they shut it down or not, but it used to be.
During the time that you were on the board, the water supply company was operating a pump station in the general area that you've shown us in blue pen on Exhibit 6, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How much land area did that pump station require?
Oh, it was just a house, maybe 10 by 20, something like that.
And as you've drawn it on Exhibit 6, it was pretty close to the boundary. Is that what you recall as being pretty close to the boundary?
Yeah.
Was there a perception as to whether or not that pump station would interfere with the marketability of the property?
Objection form.
Objection form.
Well, I think it was discussed that it was something that would have to be addressed. Either moved, or whoever purchased the land would have to give an easement.
Okay. Now, you mentioned, in addition to the issue with the holding tank, you mentioned it. What I understood, it was a separate issue about fill. Do you remember that?
Yes.
What was that issue?
What I understood was the front portion of the land, or practically the whole portion of the land, would have to be brought up anywhere from 3 to 5 feet in fill to make it an accessible level to where it could be developed further.
When was the last time you were by the old wastewater treatment plant, what I'm going to call the Exhibit 6 property?
Probably 4 years ago.
Are you one of the people that have hangar in the airport?
No.
Okay. So that was not your regular place to be, right?
No.
Okay. Did you go over, when somebody told you there might need to be 3 feet of fill on that land up by Piper Lane, did you go over there to see whether that seemed reasonable to you?
Yes.
Did you see that, did it seem reasonable to you that along Piper Lane there'd need to be 3 feet of fill?
Yes.
Okay, and why was that reasonable?
When you drive down the paved drives or runways there, and you look at the buildings or hangars that were built, everything, they were at a level with the street or slightly above. And the land in question here is, when you look at the street, it dipped down anywhere from 3 to 4 feet.
Well, certainly the taxiways and the access aprons are level with those hangars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand that it's important that the aprons meet the taxiways on a level?
Yes.
But it's not so important that the hangars be on the same level, is it?
Objection form.
I would assume that you would want your hangar on the same level as where you're going to be taxiing to the paved areas. I mean, I wouldn't think you'd want to come out of your hangar and go up a dip.
Are you not aware that people do that in the airport?
Objection form.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Did you ever consult with a land planner or an engineer or anyone else to try to determine whether or not fill would be required on the property?
I talked to a Central Texas small airport developer, and I asked his opinion, and he said he would do it.
That he would do it? Yeah. That he would raise the level of the land even up along Piper Lane by 3 feet?
Yes.
How many hangar lots did he say you could get out of this tract?
He didn't say.
Did you ask him?
No.
You didn't think that was important?
Objection form.
No.
Did anyone ever report to the board during your tenure as board president that there was a drainage issue with the property?
I believe, yes, there was some discussion with various areas around here that did have a drainage problem.
What reports did you receive of any drainage problems with the property?
I can't remember any reports. As I remember, there was some conversation about drainage areas.
Conversations with whom?
Just various people I talked to from time to time.
Conversations with anyone with expertise in the area?
Well, if you own property in that area, you'd be knowledgeable of drainage issues.
Did you have a conversation with anyone with expertise in the area of drainage who reported to you that it was his or her opinion that there were drainage problems on the property?
No.
Do you recall seeing one or more appraisals of the property?
I was aware of several appraisals that were done on the property.
Can you recall any of those appraisals suggesting that there were drainage problems on the property?
I can't remember any details on that. I don't know if I read the appraisals in detail to get that out of it.
Can you recall any of the appraisals that you saw suggesting that there needed to be 3 to 5 feet of fill across the site?
I don't remember details about that.
During the time that you were president of the board, did the board put any part of the wastewater treatment plant, the Exhibit 6 property, any part of it on the market?
No.
Had a prior board put any part of the Exhibit 6 property on the market?
Not that I was aware of.
Do you know whether a subsequent board, subsequent to your tenure, has ever put any part of the Exhibit 6 property on the market?
Not that I'm aware of.
Why did your board not put it on the market?
Objection form.
Objection form.
We received an offer on the property, and we asked our attorney if we needed to list it on the MLS or anything, and we were told we did not, if we thought the existing offer was acceptable.
So you became board president in May 2015?
I think May, yeah.
And you got an offer when?
I can't remember the exact date. It was late 2015.
So maybe 6 months or so into your...
I can't remember the exact time.
So was there a reason why the board did not put any part of the Exhibit 6 property on the market before this offer was received?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I don't know what the previous board
No,
thought.
your board.
Yeah.
Object form.
Objection form.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. You became board president in May 2015, if I heard you right.
Yeah.
This offer came in late 2015. There were months in the meantime, and my question is, was there a reason why the board did not put the Exhibit 6 property on the market during that time?
Objection form.
Objection form.
We just we just hadn't done it.
Okay. Now, did you talk with any real estate professionals about putting the property or some part of the Exhibit 6 property on the market?
There was a gentleman that had dealt with the board previously about another parcel of land, and I went and talked to him about it.
Who was that?
His name was Kenny Dryden.
And what did you learn from Mr. Dryden?
If I remember correctly, his opinion would be that for the 11 acres, if we received an offer anywhere close to $25,000 or $30,000, we'd be very lucky.
$25,000 or $30,000 for the 11 acres?
Yeah,
Or $25,000 or $30,000 an acre?
an acre.
And what was his basis for that?
His previous experience with the board in regards to another lot that he had been involved with for a year or two prior to this.
What lot was that?
It was, I don't know exactly, it was a lot on this side of the property, one of the hangars there, one of the lots there.
So if I understand, was Mr. Dryden the purchaser?
Oh, he was a real estate agent.
He was a real estate agent who was representing a purchaser?
No, he was a real estate agent working with a board member as to try to sell the property.
Okay, so their water supply company owned a hangar property?
Yeah.
And it was in the process of trying to sell that property?
Yes.
What year was that?
I think it was like 2013, 2014.
So that would have been before your coming onto the board?
Yes.
And so Mr. Dryden had some experience with that transaction?
With that area, yes.
And what was his experience with that transaction in terms of what that property sold for?
He relayed to me that he had a lot of difficulty dealing with the airport people there, and also that he had a lot of problem marketing the property.
He'd had a lot of problem marketing the property. Why?
He just said that there wasn't that much demand for it.
Did he tell you what the price was that was paid for that hangar lot?
I don't remember.
Wouldn't that have been important?
Objection form.
Objection.
I just don't. I don't remember what it sold for. Really.
Isn't that exactly what you would want to know? Is what it sold for?
Objection form.
Yes, at that point in time, I probably knew what it was. I just don't. If I had to guess, I think it sold for around $70,000, but I'm not sure.
You think that was in 2012 or 2013?
I think so, but I don't know.
That wasn't Van Treese, the Van Treese transaction, was it?
I don't remember the name.
You know Mrs. Van Treese, right?
I've heard the name.
You don't know her personally?
No.
So you've never spoken to Miss Van Treese about marketing any of the water supply company property?
Who is she?
She's a lady that owns some land in the airport. I haven't met her either.
I can't say. I don't think so. I recognize the name, but I don't.
Okay, well, there was a sale several actually, in 2012. One of them was in the air park, lot 21. Does that sound familiar at all?
Object form.
Objection form.
I don't know of it.
Okay, aside from what you've told us, was there any other detail given that you felt was reliable in terms of establishing a value or a price?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I went and talked to a real estate agent that dealt with airport sales in the Lakeway and Largo Vista area.
Okay.
And I asked her in regards to her opinion of marketability of this property.
Who was that?
I don't remember her name. Her office was over on Lakeway Boulevard, but I don't remember her name.
Before we leave the Dryden, did he sit down and explain to you, here's how I've calculated this per acre number I've given you, and go through that with you?
No, other than he just stated to me that was his opinion of what the marketability might have been.
In 2012?
No, I talked to him in 2015.
Okay. But in terms of sitting down and working the math or whatever with you to explain to you how he'd gotten to his conclusion, he didn't do that?
He didn't go through the math with me, no.
And forgive me if I asked you this earlier, but when did this happen? When did your meeting with or your conversations with Mr. Dryden happen?
It was in either the 1 or 2 months after I became president.
So early summer, maybe?
Yes.
Early summer 2015? And have you told me now the extent of the discussions with Mr. Dryden?
I'm sorry.
Have you told me the extent of the discussions with Mr. Dryden?
Well, I had a discussion with him in regards to the possible value of the property and what his opinion was.
But you've told me about that discussion,
Yes.
and I just want to make sure that I know now all of that discussion.
Yes.
Okay. Was there a reason why you didn't sign up with him to market the property?
No.
Did he suggest to you that you should market the property?
No.
Would you agree that a reasonable step to determine what a willing buyer is going to pay for it would be to market the property?
Objection form.
Objection form.
What do you mean?
Isn't it true that typically when people want to obtain the best price they can for their property, typically they put it on the market, don't they?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I guess I don't necessarily agree with that.
Well, tell me, do you know of a circumstance where somebody has gotten the best price possible without putting it on the market?
Objection form.
Objection form.
No.
The board had been talking for years about the idea of at some point selling the property that you've identified for us on Exhibit 6, right?
Objection form.
Objection form.
Objection form.
I don't know if I can answer that question on what the previous boards did.
If the minutes reflect that they had been talking for years about marketing that property at some point, would you disagree with that?
Objection form.
Objection form.
No.
Was that generally consistent with your impression that it would need to be sold to retire debt?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I think that was the reason to talk about it.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, or maybe I didn't hear you right.
I said, I think that's the reason why they talked about selling, was to retire debt.
Okay. The lady in Lakeway, you can't remember her name?
No.
Are you pretty sure that that was not Mrs. Van Treese?
Objection form.
Objection form.
Is she a realtor?
She's the only one I know that markets property in the Lakeway Airport, but I don't have the monopoly on that market.
Objection form.
I just don't remember her name, I'm sorry.
And when did you talk with Mrs. Van Treese,
Objection form.
or whoever it was?
It was
Objection form.
a month or two after I became president.
What prompted you to have the discussion with Mr. Dryden?
Because I wanted to understand his experience in dealing with the airport land and what he thought the value may be.
Okay. What prompted you to talk with whoever you talked to who was a realtor in the Lakeway area?
The same reason.
And tell me what she told you.
She told me that in her opinion, if we could get anywhere close to $30,000 an acre, we'd be lucky.
Did she explain to you what math she had used or what analysis she had used to get to that point?
I guess just her experience in dealing with other property that had sold in the area.
Did she identify for you other properties in the Spicewood Airport area that she had dealt with?
No.
Was it your impression she had dealt with property in the Spicewood Airport area at all?
No.
Was it your impression she was pretty limited to Lakeway?
it was my opinion that she was knowledgeable about the Central Texas small airport development and airports.
And what other airport had she been involved with the marketing of property besides Lakeway?
I understood Largo Vista, and I'm not sure, but it was my opinion that she had also dealt with other property in the Central Texas area.
Can you be more specific than the Central Texas area?
No.
Is there any way that we can get to the bottom of who it was that you talked to? Did you keep notes or anything like that?
I'm sorry I didn't, because I was doing this more on just an investigation basis. I didn't realize that it would delve into this.
What other investigation did you make besides these two conversations?
I talked to an airport developer in Central Texas area.
Who was that?
It's a gentleman out of Land Passes. I can't remember his name, but he just told me that his opinion would be that in looking at putting together a business case for airport development like this, where you look for the business case and the marketability, and you figure the amount of cost that a developer goes into to develop small airports, land like this. He said he'd be really hard pressed to pay any more than 15 or 20,000 an acre for a plot of land like this, based upon the amount of work that would need to go into it, and also the marketability. When you put together a business case on something like this, you've got to realize that you're probably not going to sell the property in the first day. You may have to hold these lots or development for 5 to 10 years to recover your money. So you got to look at your business case.
If I'm understanding you, though, there was nothing that prevented the board from simply putting the property on the market and seeing what the market would bring. Is that right?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I guess you could say that.
Well, I mean, if there was something keeping you from it, that's what I want to know.
Objection form.
Objection form.
No.
And I asked you earlier why the board didn't do that, and you said we just didn't. Is there a reason why the board didn't do that, didn't put it on the market?
Objection
Objection
form.
form.
I can't speak for the previous board why they didn't do that.
I know, I'm talking about you and your board.
Objection form.
Objection form.
We received an offer that we thought was extremely acceptable, and it was the best interest at that point in time to reduce the balloon note.
In June or July, you did an investigation, and it gave you the information that you've just shared with us, right?
Yes.
And this was the extent of the investigation that you did, is that correct?
Yes.
So based on your investigation, the water supply company would be lucky to get what? What were you thinking from this property?
Objection form.
Objection form.
At my point, I was thinking that we would be really, really lucky to get anywhere from 20 to 25,000 an acre.
For 11 acres?
Yeah.
Even the holding tank acreage?
Well, I didn't think we'd get it for the whole. If in the process of selling the property, that came up as an item to be negotiated on, it was my thought we'd probably have to lower the price even then if the person was to buy the whole property with that on there.
So what was your expectation about what the water supply company could expect to get in the way of proceeds from the sale of the Exhibit 6 property?
If at that point in time, it was my opinion that if we were to sell the whole 11 acres just to one person, we'd probably be lucky to get 20,000 an acre.
For the whole 11 acres?
Yes.
So,
Based upon the condition it was in and what the exposures were.
so again, what is the amount of proceeds that you expected, based on your investigation, the water supply company could expect to get from the sale of the Exhibit 6 property?
Objection form.
Objection form.
You're talking about the 11 acres?
Yes, sir? Or however you thought that it could be sold and marketed.
Objection form.
Objection form.
My opinion was around 20,000 an acre.
So we'd multiply 20,000 times 11,
Yes,
and that's the total amount that you expected in the early summer of 2015 the water supply company would hope to get.
yes.
How did that jibe with the business plan and the budget for debt service that had been put together years earlier when the debt was incurred?
Objection form.
I don't know the answer to that because I wasn't part of that.
Well, you had to be monitoring it during your presidency, right?
Objection form.
Objection form.
You asked when the debt was originally incurred, and that was incurred prior to me being on the board.
Okay. During the time that you were the president, you were responsible for making sure that the water supply company made its debt service, right?
Yes.
And apparently it was able to do that, correct?
They had been able to do it, but it was with the projects that needed to be done and the problems that had occurred. We were going to incur more debt, or we were going to have to raise the rates.
Did you ever, when you did your investigation and came to the conclusion that 20,000 times 11 acres was what the water supply company could likely expect to receive, did you ever go back to check to see what were the assumptions that were made at the time the debt was incurred?
Objection form.
I could not find any.
You couldn't find any? Okay. Did you get with Ms. Gibson or anybody else to look to see if that's all we get out of this property, how's that going to affect our ability to service our debt and meet our operating expenses?
We
Objection form.
went and met
form.
with the person at the officer at the bank and talked to him about it. And I think the plan was if we could get down to a debt of around $250,000, at that point in time, we'd be able to continue with our current rates and meet our obligations. But there were another item that came up that was also going to cost the corporation additional amount of money, and that was going to be a problem.
What was that?
There's a section of Windermere called the Tennis Village, and there was a pump station over there that had deteriorated to the point of where it was causing a problem, and it was going to have to be replaced.
Do you remember the budget for that?
As I remember, I think we were somewhere in the $100,000 to $200,000 range.
Did you have any discussions in early summer 2015 with other board members about the results of your investigation?
Well, we discussed it as a board.
And I asked because I didn't see it in the minutes. Would it have been an open meeting or not?
I don't remember if it was open meeting or executive session.
Earlier, when I asked you about what prior boards had done about the debt and what they had thought about the debt that was about to be incurred, you said look in the minutes. So I want to look with you at the minutes for February 18, 2014, which I've marked as Exhibit 7. once you've had a chance to look at those minutes, let me know.
Okay.
By the way, I've got these minutes off of the website for the water supply company. You're aware that the minutes are posted, right?
Yes.
Do you know any reason why I ought not to rely on the minutes that are posted? Is there any problem that you're aware of with them?
Not that I'm aware of.
Objection form.
Objection form.
In your experience, are the minutes that are posted on the website of the water supply company a reliable reflection of what occurred at the meetings?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I think so.
Do you see there's a discussion in those minutes about the financing options for the new wastewater treatment plant? Mulligan's describing that to the board. Do you see that?
Yes.
It says, based on a construction budget of $765,000, WOWSC intends to pay $315,000 in cash and borrow $450,000. Do you see that?
Yes.
Then it says it still owes approximately $244,000. That was for the water plant, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then if we turn the page, there's a motion to engage in some very specific financing. Do you see the description of the financing there?
I see it. I hadn't read it.
Well, what I'm wanting to know, since I don't have the loan documents, is that consistent with the financing that you administered when you came on the board in May of 2015?
It sounds correct, but I'm...
Okay. Do you know whether the water supply company was able to come up with $315,000 in cash for this project?
I don't know that.
You don't know? Because you see that this plan contemplates $315,000 in cash from the water supply company and then financing of around $600,000 and change, right?
Yes.
And the financing that Mebane moved be approved called for 9 months interest only, right?
Yes.
And then a principal and interest based upon a 10-year amortization with 120-month payout. Is that right?
Right.
So that's monthly payments based on a 10-year amortization, right?
Yes.
This financing did not call for any interim balloon payments. Do you recall whether or not you ever were called upon to disperse resources for an interim balloon payment?
Objection form.
I can't remember.
I ask because it's been suggested that at the time of the transaction with Ms. Martin and her company, there was some pressing need for money. Do you recall it that way?
Objection
Objection
form.
form.
I don't remember the details.
Do you recall there being some special need for money around that time, even if you can't remember the specifics of it?
Objection form.
The only thing I might remember is like I talked about the Tennis Village pump station, and I can't remember any other details on that.
Well, the loan that's described here in Mr. Madden's motion would be a loan that stayed in place for 10 years at a more or less steady monthly payment, right?
Right.
That is, I don't see here any requirement that it be paid down or that action be taken in order to secure that more or less steady monthly payment. Do you see what I'm saying?
Object form.
Objection.
Is that how you understand it?
Objection form.
Object form.
I don't remember the details on the financing and what position we were in at that time.
If somebody comes and claims there was some urgent or special need for money during the late 2015 through early 2016 timeframe, is that consistent with your recollection?
Check
Object form.
I don't remember.
You don't remember one?
No.
Okay. Based upon the budgets and financial information that you worked with during the time that you were the president of the board, what resources, aside from this Exhibit 6 property, did the water supply company have to come up with $315,000 in cash?
Check form.
Check form.
Objection form.
The only property I'm aware of is the property we discussed on the other side of Exeter Road.
Well, I thought you said that property was pledged to the bank.
Check.
Did I misunderstand you?
Objection form.
Check form.
Object form.
Did I misunderstand you? I may have.
Form.
Object form.
I don't remember that.
Okay. When you became the president, you familiarized yourself with the loan documents that governed the indebtedness that you were administering for the water supply company, right?
I think I looked over them and everything, but we had a lady that was taking care of our bookkeeping at that time, and I think she got more involved in it than I did.
Let me show you Exhibit 8, which is a construction deed of trust dated in 2014. And once you've had a chance to look at it, let me know.
Look at it.
Thank you.
Have you had a chance to look over that deed of trust? Thank you very much.
I've looked it over.
Is that part of the financing that was obtained in connection with the construction of the new wastewater treatment plant?
I think it was. I mean, I wasn't part of the board when this happened, so I think it was.
It was still in place when you became the president, was it not?
Yes.
And you gained an understanding when you took office, didn't you, how much debt was outstanding and what its purposes were?
Object form.
Objection form.
We went over it and everything, but I don't know if I knew all the details.
Okay. And the amount of the debt that is secured by that deed of trust is the $600,000 or so number that Mr. Mebane had talked about in the minutes that we looked at for February 18, 2014, right?
Right.
Object form.
Objection form.
Do you recall well, let me show you Exhibit 9, which looks to be a deed of trust a little later in time for a smaller amount. Was this part of the debt that was incurred in connection with the construction of the new wastewater treatment plant?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Was this debt that is reflected in the deed of trust that I've just marked as Exhibit 9, was it in place when you were the president of the board?
Objection.
I can't say that for sure. I don't know.
Let me show you Exhibit 10. If I've got my chronology correctly, that is an instrument reflecting debt that was incurred while you were the president of the board, is that right?
It looks like it, yes.
Do you know what it was for?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Who signed off on it for the water supply company?
Myself and Dorothy Taylor and Dana.
Dana Martin? Okay. So as of the date of, and how much was the debt that was secured by that deed of trust?
I don't see a value on here. Oh, perfect. The note of the loan, 100,000.
So we had a deed of trust that secured, what, was it 685,000? Is that correct? 685,000?
Yes.
And then another one for debt in the amount of like 35,600, give or take?
Yes.
Then the one that occurred during your tenure for 100,000?
Yes.
So that's 800,000 in debt? Is that right?
Yes.
What was the monthly debt service?
I do not remember. All that was, we talked about it at that time and reviewed about it. I don't remember now.
What documents would I request? What are the right documents that would show me the debt service that was due and that was paid in connection with that $800,000 worth of debt?
As I remember at that point in time, we had financial statements that we worked on, and I think Carrie put those together, but I don't know where they are, and I don't know I don't remember exact details on them.
Were there any rate adjustments during the time you were president of the board?
I don't think so.
Were there any fee adjustments during that time?
I don't think so.
I've seen in the minutes references to standby fees. Do you know what standby fees are?
I think those are the ones where you're talking about vacant lots and they, just have accessibility to the water service if you build on it.
In some of the minutes, there are suggestions that without the standby fees, the water supply company would be operating in the red. Do you know whether or not that is accurate?
Objection form.
Objection form.
I don't know if it's, I've heard that statement, but I don't know if it's accurate or not. I don't know.
During the time that you were the president of the board and you were administering these matters, was it accurate that without the standby fees, the water supply company would be operating in the red?
I don't remember.
Object form.
You don't remember?
No.
What are the records that would show me that?
Where are they?
What would I ask? If I wanted to ask for the right records that would show me the answer to that question, what would I be asking for?
I would assume it would be a financial statement.
Ms. Allen, how much longer do you think we have? I'm wondering if we need to break for lunch in a bit.
I think it would be good to take a short break, and then I can kind of reorganize based on what he's told me and maybe cut it shorter. So 30 minutes or whatever you want.
So we'll be definitely done at 12:30. I just need to know whether, let's go off the record.
I don't think I'm being clear with you. I was suggesting that we take a 30-minute break. Let me go back through all of this, because he's short-circuited a bunch of it, and see what I have left. But if you want to, and so the 30-minute would be the lunch break, but if you want a longer lunch break than that, that's also fine.
Okay, well, we'll confirm. On our
Sounds good.
side. Yeah.
We are off the record